Propane is a fuel commonly used in logging operations, especially in winter. Propane is energy efficient, easy to transport, and easy to store. However, because it's also commonly used in everything from home barbecues to automobiles, we sometimes forget the extreme dangers that propane presents if not handled safely. Propane is safe if used within industry and government standards and with a measure of common sense, knowing the hazards it presents. All forestry workers who work with propane must receive a basic propane safety course, such as that approved by the Technical Standards and Safety Authority, or TSSA, for use by the Ontario Forestry Safe Workplace Association. TSSA is a government watchdog group that regulates training requirements, enforces pertinent legislation, and sets standards for such things as the safe use of propane in industry. This video, used with a short classroom training session, will provide you with the information you need to work safely with propane in logging situations. It includes information related to the transportation, storage, and handling of propane cylinders, standards and requirements for propane cylinders and equipment used in logging, and proper setup and use of propane in propane-fueled appliances, heaters, and torches. Before beginning our demonstration on the proper handling procedures for propane, perhaps we should learn a little more about propane itself, so we can understand exactly why propane, like any fuel, must be treated with caution and respect. Propane is a byproduct of the refining of natural gas and crude oil. In its natural state, propane is colorless and odorless. An odorant, the familiar rotten egg smell, is added to propane so that it can be more easily detected and recognized should a leak occur. Keep in mind, though, that there is another way to detect leaks that we will discuss later. Within a container such as a cylinder or tank, propane exists in both liquid and vapor form. Vapor is contained in the space above the liquid and, as a vapor, is drawn off to be used in some types of heaters or torches, just as it is in your home barbecue. During the process, some of the liquid gas boils to produce more vapor, maintaining the vapor flow. In liquid propane applications, such as in some types of torches, the liquid is drawn out of the tank and is then vaporized in the torch or in the engine. This increases the flow rate and results in greater energy output. Liquid propane expands to 270 times the space it occupies as a liquid when it changes to a vapor. This means that the liquid gas contained in a 20-pound tank will produce enough vapor to fill a 1,000-gallon tank. Propane vapors are 1.5 times heavier than air. This means that any escaping propane gas will settle in low-lying or confined areas, such as ditches, pits, or low contours in the land. Inside, it will settle near the floor or in basements or pits. Propane in liquid form released into the atmosphere is a cryogenic gas and is extremely cold. If it touches the skin, it may cause frostbite. That's why you must wear proper PPE, such as neoprene or insulated gloves and eye protection when dealing with this type of propane. Carbon monoxide is a byproduct of the incomplete combustion of propane and can be very hazardous to workers who are in the area where propane is being used. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer, and its hazards must be addressed with proper ventilation, worker awareness of the potential hazard, and monitoring. Using propane in portable cylinders means moving, lifting, and carrying them. Here are some important rules to follow when transporting, storing, or handling these cylinders. Legislation requires that you use only those cylinders with a protective collar or cap. The cylinder must be marked with a WHMIS and TDG label. It must be less than 10 years old or recertified for use and be in good condition, free from dents, gouges, or rust. The regulations governing propane requires that cylinders be carried upright in an open vehicle with good ventilation. An open vehicle is one in which the cylinder is plainly visible from the outside. If not, the vehicle must be properly labeled with warning signs that propane is being carried. Placards on all four sides of a vehicle are necessary when transporting more than 5 cylinders of any size or more than 500 kilograms or 1,100 pounds gross weight. In the winter, remember that snow under the stored cylinder can melt and cause the cylinder to fall, so always clear away snow and ice from the storage platforms before placing the cylinder on the level surface. Propane cylinders must be stored at least 3 feet from other flammable compressed gases and at least 20 feet away from flammable liquids and toxic or corrosive compressed gases. There must be no source of ignition or ignitable material, trash, or debris within 10 feet. Doors and ground level windows must be a minimum of 10 feet away when storing less than 500 pounds of propane, and a distance of 25 feet for storing propane in excess of 500 pounds. A propane cylinder used inside a building must not be located near an exit, a stairway, a hallway where there is a lot of traffic, or an area used or intended for the safe evacuation of people. A fire extinguisher of minimum class 4A 40BC must be kept nearby. Making sure that you have the right equipment for the job and that it is in good repair is the next topic of safe propane use we need to deal with. Defective equipment or equipment used incorrectly is the #1 cause of propane accidents. Only approved regulators, hoses, cylinders, and appliances can be used with propane gas. Only certified personnel with specific training can repair propane equipment and make certain types of installations. Workers who receive specific training approved by the Technical Standards and Safety Association, such as the record of training that this program offers, can assemble, hook up, or disconnect the different pieces of individual equipment. They must ensure, however, that the individual parts are in good working order, are the right parts for the cylinder or appliance being used, and are used for the proper purpose. The proper tools must be used to connect and disconnect propane equipment to the propane supply. The cylinder valve should be opened slowly and completely. Opening it too quickly may cause the excess flow valve to activate and stop the flow of propane, and a partially opened valve may cause gas to leak around the valve stem. After assembling the equipment and before igniting the appliance, you should check for leaks in the hose and delivery system with a soap and water solution. You might be able to smell a leak, but only if sufficient vapor is escaping. A small leak may go unnoticed if you don't check with the soap solution. If any bubbles appear during the soap test, it's likely that the connections are not properly tightened, or there is damage to one of the parts. The problem must be corrected and rechecked before igniting. Remember to have a proper fire extinguisher available. Manifolding up to 3 cylinders together will provide longer times between refills and also provide adequate flow during cold weather. An approved manifold assembly must be used for this purpose. The regulators in the hose system reduce the high pressure from the tank to a safe level for use in most appliances. Fixed or variable regulators are available. Many heaters used in logging operations, for example, have a built-in regulator. Some appliances, such as torches, may not have built-in regulators, in which case one must be installed separately in the hose system. Flame guards are found on most heaters or propane-powered vehicles. The flame guard shuts off the flow of propane should the flame go out. This allows equipment to be left unattended. Torches do not have a flame guard system and cannot be left unattended. Propane, just like gasoline or fuel oil, is a very useful product, but unless the proper rules for their safe use are followed, they can be very dangerous. You must follow these procedures each time you use a propane appliance. Your safety and the safety of those you work with are at stake.